We're now looking at role play as a teaching strategy, Unit 4. And in this teaching strategy, role play, we're going to be looking at the importance of role play with younger children and how useful it could be in your classroom. One of the things that one can consider when using this strategy is if it has to be firstly well structured, and if it is, then it will work very well in developing the child's imagination, language skills, as well as social skills. So in the long run, it could be pretty useful. Children in the age of the intermediate phase, they're quite excited to play or to act various parts from play, and I think this could work quite well, provided that you confine the learners to the activity that you have in mind for them on the outcome. So very important is the learning outcome, and you have to make sure that children are well focused. That in a nutshell gives you an idea of what role play is about. It is about acting, basically. So learning activities in which one or more learners are required to act a part are often referred to as performing activities. I'd like to refer you to the slides as well so that you can follow as I speak to the slides. In role play as a teaching strategy, this could be available in the form of formal activities, which is scripted plays, free-flowing activities, role-playing, or a mixture of structure and freedom, example, stimulating games. So you could use it, quite effectively, as I've mentioned earlier. The learners who are preparing, participating, are required to take a role, and they've got to pretend to be something or someone other than themselves. This makes it quite creative for the child. Okay, so important features of role play. It is firstly an unrehearsed dramatization in which learners would act and illustrate a realistic or hypothetical scenario. Learners improvise behaviors to illustrate how they think their assigned character would speak and behave. It also provides an opportunity for learners to become deeply involved in thinking about how they would act in the real world. And it also involves a few learners, while the others would stand by as class observers and analyze the interaction between the actors. By that I mean, if you want to get the class involved, there's sometimes your play itself maybe just for taking few characters into play. By getting, or how would you get the classroom involved, would be to actually get them to write some points that you want them to focus on. So in that way you can get an interaction going later on when you have a discussion on the play. Role play helps learners to understand feelings and perspective of others by acting in scenarios that involve conflict. A second form of role play can be used to help learners develop specific skills, such as how to present themselves effectively for an interview or how to introduce themselves to a stranger. However, as a teacher, you've got to remember that it is just not a fun activity for the learners. Reasons for using role play as a teaching strategy: it provides an opportunity to the educator to create a learning environment in which learners can experience the different real life situations. It teaches learners to appreciate the real life problems and possible solutions. It develops communication and interaction skills in the way they speak, they listen, they think, and they compromise. It develops citizenship skills in learners by showing both good and bad methods people use to solve problems and interpersonal relations. It provides educators with informal assessment opportunities. Some of the issues you could be considering before using case studies: it could be oversimplified the solutions would cause learners to overlook important things. It does consume a lot of time. It may be a total success or a total failure, depending on the attitude of the learners. Some learners will be reluctant to participate. If they're introverted, or if they don't like mingling with other learners, they're going to find it hard to participate. Some learners will not be able to play their role in a credible way and therefore defeat the purpose. Defining the role of learners can be very time consuming for the teacher. It may be well that the teacher has worked out the outcomes, but will never get it, depending on how the learners will react. Learners must be well prepared because they find it difficult to take on roles for which they have little knowledge. The teacher must expect roles that are always in according to the direction of hope. In preparation for the role play, you've got to decide, again, I'm emphasizing the learning outcomes that are to be achieved by those participating, and the learning outcomes to be achieved by those who are involved indirectly. Prepare the source material for the directorate and other learners. Select the learner who will be directly involved and leave them on the road. Explain to the other learners what to expect of them during the performance. Decide how you will access the learners. Steps. There are about 9 steps that you can take into account when you are using role play as an effective strategy. Select or develop the role play scene. Have the role play scenario reviewed. Tell the learners what they are going to do and why. Select the participants and explain their roles. Explain what you expect from the audience to give learners time to prepare, guide the enhancement, discuss, evaluate, and debrief, assess the learner's learning. I have sort of recapped all that I've mentioned earlier in this 9 steps. And of course, you could use ICT with role play. It works well. Again, the emphasis is on ICT, so please take cognizance of that and work around using role play and how effective it could be or how well it could be used in conjunction with ICT. Thank you.